Hi, this is Mr. A. In this tutorial, is going to help you learn the LEGO Mindstorms EV3 programming brick and how it will function with a LEGO robot. This is what the top of the EV3 programming brick looks like. This obviously is the control screen, and this is the control buttons. This is the back button, and it's used to reverse actions or to abort a running program, and also to shut down the EV3 brick. This center button, listed here as number 2, is the center button, and it says OK to any various questions, to shut down, to select desired settings, or to select blocks in the brick programming app. You would, for example, press this button to select any checkbox when you're programming the robot. And the left, right, and up and down buttons on the outside, listed here as number 3, are the 4 buttons that are used to navigate through the contents of the EV3 brick. To turn on the EV3 brick, just push the center OK button, and the screen will tell you that it's starting, and it will log on. And it'll take a couple seconds for that to complete the function. To turn off the EV3, you would push the back button several times until this screen pops up. Then you would push the right-hand control button until the check mark is highlighted, and then push the OK button. The EV3 has 3 light controls. When you see it red, that means it is starting up, it's updating, or it's shutting down. When the red light pulses, then it's busy. When you see the orange light, that means there's an alert when it's ready, or there is an alert when the robot is running. When you see a green light, that means the EV3 is ready and set to go for your next control. And when it's pulsing, that means there's a program running. The EV3 is a very expensive but small computer. You need to be very careful with the E3 brick, as well as the other controls and sensors. But the EV3 brick needs to be carefully handled. Never run a robot on a tabletop, for it might run right off the table and fall on the floor. It could also go out of control. So we always run the robots on the floor where they cannot fall. Please don't drop the EV3s also. Let's look at some of the parts to the robots. These are the motors. Now there's large motors, and they're typically used to move the robot back and forth, turn, spin, go wherever you need it to go. And the smaller motor, they call it the medium motor, that usually controls some other function on the robot, and we'll get into that in a little bit. This is the rechargeable battery pack, and you have to either use this or you'll need to use 6 AA batteries. Let's take a quick look at the sensors that you have available to the EV3. This is the ultrasonic sensor, and it shoots out sound waves so that it can tell the computer how far away an object is from the computer robot. This is the color sensor, and it reads different colors, and white and black as well, and 5 other colors. This sensor is the gyro sensor, and that tells and gives feedback into the computer and tells you how much your robot is turning. It gives you the results in degrees. And last, but certainly not least, is the touch sensor, and that recognizes a touch or a bump or a push. This is what the sides of the EV3 look like, and you need to know and become familiar with the ports. The ports over here that are listed as 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's where you connect any of the sensors that we just looked at. On this side, this is the output ports, and they're listed A, B, C, and D, and that's where you connect any motors, the medium or the large motors. And over here you can see there's a speaker, and on this side there's several other ports to connect a USB cord or an SD card. Let's take a look at this screen of the EV3. There are 4 basic screens, and it gives you a lot of functionality. doing something as simple as starting and stopping a program, or something as complicated as actually writing the program itself. You can control and move between these different screens by pushing the right and left control buttons on the top of the EV3. The first screen is the Run Recent screen, and that will show the programs that have just been run, the most recent one at the top. Moving over to the second screen, that's called the File Navigation screen. And that's where you organize all your program files, and it allows you to add, move them, delete them. They're also stored in file folders called Brick Programming and Brick Datalog Save. The third screen is the Brick App screen, and that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. The port view does that. It just gives you a review, and if you click on that and click the OK button, it'll show you which sensors are connected to which ports and which motors are connected to which ports. The next line down, the motor control, you'll be able to control the forward and reverse movement of any motor connected to one of the 4 output ports. There are 2 different modes. In one mode, you'll be able to control the motors that are connected to port A using the up and down buttons, and to port D using the left and right buttons. In the next mode, it is the motors connected to port B and C, and you would control port B by using the up and down, and port C by using the left and right buttons. Use the center button to toggle between the 2 modes. Press the back button to get back to the Brick App's main screen. So that's what the first 2 options look like in the Brick App screen, the port view and the motor control screen. We're going to be skipping over the IR control and the Brick Datalog in this tutorial, but we will now be concentrating on the Brick program, and that's where the real fun begins. Here's what the port view app looks like, and you can see right here in port A there's a large motor and it's set for rotation. This is what the motor control app looks like, and you can see this is in the first mode, and we're controlling the ports A and D on this screen. And as I said, when we get to the Brick Programming in the third setting, the third tab up top, the Brick Program is where we put the programs and we can control your robot. This is, like I said, where all the fun begins. When you first open up the block program screen, it provides you with a start and a loop block. This is the start block and this is the loop block. In the middle, and the little dashes in the middle, that indicates that you can add more blocks to your program. The blocks are what actually are the functionalities, and you can go to the different palette by using the up and down button. This is what the block palette looks like. You can choose which new block to add by navigating using the left and right up and down buttons. Navigating further up, additional blocks will show. Navigating all the way down will take you back to your program. Generally, there are 2 types of blocks: action and wait. The action block indicator is a small arrow at the top right on the block. The wait block indicator is a small hourglass. In total, there are 6 different action blocks and 11 different wait blocks that you can choose from. When you find a block you want, navigate to it and press the center button, and it'll take you back to your program. In your program, you can navigate between blocks using the left and right buttons. Press the center button to change the settings of the highlighted block, always the block in the middle of the screen, or to add a new block when the sequence wire is highlighted and the add block line is visible. On each programming block, you can change one setting using the up and down buttons. For example, on the action move steering block, you can change the direction of your robot's path. When you have chosen the setting you want, press the center button. Here's what your program screen would look like after you've added a new block. This is the block we've added, and you can see that that's controlling B and C motors. And here's the start block, and here's the loop block, and this is the block that we just added. Here's what the full block palette looks like, and you can see on the top right hand corner, there's an hourglass, so that means a wait function for that particular sensor. And you can see here's the arrow, which is an action function for any particular motor or other operational unit on the robot. So once you've selected a block from the palette and inserted it into the program between the start and the loop blocks, then click on it, using the OK button, and you can see that this one is highlighted with those dotted lines around it. And you can see that this is the motors that are connected to the B, C ports. Then I can tell it what to do. You can see I have it going backwards and turning. To save your program, navigate to the save icon, which is on the far left of the screen. You'll click that save icon. You'll be asked to name your program or accept the default name, but never accept the default name. Please write your name and then some other identifying feature of the program when you're saving it. Once you're done, click OK, and your program is now saved to the Program Brick Save folder. And that can be accessed through the file navigation screen, which I showed you earlier. Well, that's the end of this tutorial. I think you'll enjoy programming these robots. It'll help you to start thinking about writing instructions and programs in a way that you may never have thought about. It'll help you to think how a computer thinks and how robots function. See ya.